What was the defining moment of your life? There are many events that can be classified as defining moments, and some of these entire nations can share, like the election of our first African-American president. Some defining moments can be recalled with a simple word or phrase, like Pearl Harbor or 9/11. Some defining moments, though, are much more personal to each of us. Perhaps the birth of your first child, or if you moved from one place to another and the drastic changes that can come from that. One common defining moment, though, that all of us probably share at some point in our life is marriage. Whether you're walking down the aisle or standing at the altar waiting to receive your bride, marriage is a very defining moment for all who take part in it. One of the negative aspects, though, about today's society is the lack of power given to some of these defining moments. According to McKinley Irvin law firm, 41% of all first marriages alone end in divorce. Now, I know at this point in my life I'm far too young to even consider getting married myself, but I think I have an understanding for the gravity behind the institution of marriage. And I think one of the reasons why I really understand that is because my parents contribute to that 41% of all marriages that end in divorce. See, it was 3 years ago that my parents initially split up, and I can tell you from personal experience that a divorce doesn't just tear apart the marital unit, that it can effectively destroy the family unit as a whole. But I don't think my parents' divorce was very average, if any of them can be considered that. I think my parents were just a little bit unique. See, they don't work in an office or a firm. They're not business professionals, is what I mean to say. They're teachers. And what makes their situation a little bit unique is that they're teachers in the same high school. And that's the same high school that I attend. And that's what makes this so personally challenging for me. Like I said, though, it was 3 years ago that they initially split up. And it was at this same time, coincidentally, that I was first exposed to this four-way test speech competition, and consequently the four-way test itself. And I don't think it takes an expert on these 4 questions to see that they probably weren't met in the time leading up to the divorce of my parents. There was a clear and present lack of honesty going on at the time. And I can tell you personally that I felt like the entire situation was unfair to my brother and to myself, these people that my parents were responsible for raising as a collected family unit. The third part of the test, I think, is obvious in its lack thereof, and the fact that there's not going to be a goodwill and a better friendship in this process designed to take a relationship and rip it apart. It's the fourth part of the test, about being beneficial, that I think was actually met in this process, though. Because like everything else in life, there is a silver lining. I was able to view my parents not as a single failing unit, but as 2 separate individuals that were each exceptional at caring about me in their own way. My parents were both happier as a result of this decision, and because of that, I was too. We didn't have to go through this facade of being one big happy family in the community that the 3 of us shared. I was really able to connect with my parents as individuals in more ways than I ever thought that I would have gotten without this process. Understand, though, that it took me a while to really comprehend how to deal with this. But through this 4-way test, I was able to deal with the breaking apart of my family, and I was able to grow as a person at the same time, because there is a 5th question merited by the 4 in this test, and that is, what is that it in the questions of the test? You'll notice they all have one. Is it the truth? Is it fair to all concerned? Does it build goodwill? It is designed to be any decision you want it to be, and of course this test can be made into a philosophy. But for the test to work on anything at all, you must apply the test to yourself first. I call that the personal it. See, I realize that I can't control the decisions that my parents make. This test isn't designed to judge the people around you. This test is designed for you as an individual. I found that through this test you can find a silver lining in even the most negatively defining moments of your life. You just have to start with yourself, or there's no validity to this. You have to put the needs of everyone in your life and place them as high as yours, if not higher than that, because that is exactly what the principles of this test are telling you to do. You need to ask yourself, are you telling the truth? Are you acting fairly? Are you building goodwill and better friendships? And are you acting in a way that's beneficial to all of those in your life? I began today by asking you, what was that defining moment of your life? And I would suggest for it not to be those events thrust upon you by life, but to let it be the decisions that you make every single day of your life that define your relationships and who you are. Your life is the only one you're in control of, so you must be the person to define your own life. Thank you all very much.